Video number 3 on the Automata Fusion Assembly project, and today we are going to work on the follower rods that need to go through the top of this box. So let's go ahead and open the top box file here, because we need to go ahead and insert a row of holes along the top. So let's go ahead and create a sketch right on that top plane, and I'm going to rotate this just so I can see it nice and long ways here. Next up, let's take a look at, well, I'm having trouble zooming out. That's a problem, because, okay, I just want to see my whole box. So we're going to place a row of circles here, and so let's find that midpoint and just drag along, and let's place a 0.25 inch diameter hole, and let's dimension from the left side to this as 0.58. And then what we could do is we could certainly go through and place 5 more holes and dimension between every single one of them, but that could get a little tedious. So let's go ahead and try to apply a rectangular pattern. So if you go under Create and choose Rectangular Pattern, the first thing that it wants us to select is the object. We want to repeat these circles. Next up is direction. Oh, there are a lot of things underneath here. Let's expand that. There we go. The direction. So I do want it to be horizontal, and I want it to go this way. Okay. Next up, they have like a specific distance for us to put in, but I think I just want the extent to be spacing. Yes, spacing based on a negative 2/3 of an inch. And instead of 3, we need a total of 6, because we made 6 cams, so we want to place 6. So then go ahead and click OK. And now when we finish the sketch, we can extrude all 6 of these at once. So let's go ahead and click on all 6, and we're going to cut through and click OK. And now we have 6 holes for the follower rods to go through. So go ahead and save this up. And let's head back to the assembly. Now, of course, to get those holes in the box, we do need to update. All right, so our box is looking really good. Let's add a new design space, and let's make those follower rods. So create a new sketch, and I'll create a circle. And again, this needs to be a 0.25 inch diameter. And let's extrude these 3 inches. Create a new component, of course. And I'm going to have these made out of bamboo for my appearance. All right, that looks good. And let's go ahead and hit, well, we can save it, but we don't just want a flat spot on the follower rod. We do want there to be a rounded end to just ride smoothly along these cams. So on the bottom here, I'm going to apply a fillet. So in the Modify panel, we're going to choose Fillet, select the circle at the bottom here, and change this radius value to be 0.25 divided by 2. So changing that radius amount, that makes it pretty smooth and kind of rounded. And let's go ahead and save this as follower. And if we head back to the assembly, I do need to show my data panel again so that I can choose my follower to insert into current design. And it brings it right on in. And I'm going to click OK. And now I want 5 more of these. So yes, I could insert 5 more, but that can get, again, pretty tedious. So we could try to essentially copy and paste. So I'm going to highlight this, choose Command C, or for you it would be Control C and Control V. Click Capture Position is fine. And then when we drag it away, we see there are actually 2 separate followers here. So that looks good, except I don't like how this came in. Okay, I'm going to delete that second one. I want it to pop up. How did that come in? Oh boy. Did it left the fillet? Oh boy. That's not great. Let's delete the fillet. Okay, let's try that again, because I highlighted all of it. Okay, well, you know what? If something isn't working quite right, let's try a different way. So I'm gonna left click on the follower here in the data panel, the browser panel, and then right click and choose copy. And then I'm going to click on the assembly all the way at the top and right click and choose paste. Capture position is fine, click OK. And so now these did come in the way that I wanted them to here at the bottom. So let's do that same process again. Right click, copy, right click all the way at the top and paste. And capture position is fine. Yep. Okay, so we've got 3. I'm gonna try Control V one more time. Yes. And now that it knows what we want it to do, it's doing it correctly. So Control V again. Again, you can drag it out of the way, click OK. Control V one last time, drag it out of the way, click OK. All right, so we should see 6 followers down here. Make sure you see those 6, that nothing else weird happened in there. All right, next up, we need to place a follower in each of these 6 holes. And so the joint that we're going to apply is a slider joint, because we do want it to slide along the axis, the vertical axis there. So when we click on position, let's click the middle of the follower for the snap point, and then the center of the hole. And if you want to, see it play, right, we can usually view the motion, preview the motion. That's exactly what the follower is supposed to do. So click OK, and then we will have to do that same joint. Right. Again, right from the center to the hole. Right. Make sure the rounded side is down. So if you constructed it the same way I did, it should be pretty automatic there. Looks good. And good. Last one. All right. So we do have all 6 followers in place. They all have the correct motion. You can see the little arrows indicating that they are sliders. And now let's go ahead and bring in our 6 cams. So you might have to do a little searching in your projects or where you might have left off with your cams. Well, that's not where I left my cams. There we go. And so I'm going to right click and insert each of my 6 cams. We know that the circle cams motion graph is not very interesting, but bring it in anyway. Okay, mine ended up back behind my box. Okay. Eccentric cam. The order that you bring them in or the order that you place them on your automata does not matter. Just bring all 6 cams in. I did set them as different colors just because I think that's interesting. You can open up your files and set their colors differently if you'd like. And the other thing is to make sure that they're all sized in such a way that they will fit in the box. So you may need to go in and edit or update your parameter D to be about 2 inches or less. If it's something small, that's fine. It doesn't have to be huge. So 1 inch, 2 inches for that D parameter would be just fine. So all of these cams are going to be rigidly attached to the axle because we don't want them to slip on the axle. We want the axle to drive them and actually turn them. So let's make sure the motion is rigid on our joints and then select the center of the cam hole. And then we're just going to select the center of the axle. Now, instead of me trying to figure out exactly how much to offset it, we're just going to eyeball it a little bit, right? So negative 1.5, and then it jumps to negative 2. So let's try negative 1.75. That's close enough. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can keep working on it if you really want to get it in there just so. But as long as it's close enough and it's underneath the follower roughly, that's totally fine. If you don't like that the follower is sticking through it, double click on the slider and then just drag it up and press enter. And that looks good. All right, so next cam, again, doesn't matter which one, center of the hole, center of the axle, viewing it from the front, dragging it underneath the next, and making some adjustments. Oops, negative 0.8. Yeah, as long as it's close enough, it's good. And again, if you want to move your follower, you certainly can. So repeat that rigid attachment process with all 6, and we'll come back and get the rest of the cams taken care of and get our motion working in the next video.